Imagine a huge cultural festival, right? A really vibrant spectacle that just captures the soul of a city. Now, picture that festival right at the center of this. Whoa, astonishing financial decision.
Yeah, we're talking about a serious amount of money, a sum that's, what, ballooned almost 20 times over in just a few years?
Exactly. It's a pretty compelling situation, isn't it? It really sort of blurs the lines between, deep tradition, undeniable economics, and some pretty high-stakes politics.
Definitely.
So this deep dive is all about the recent allocation of nearly 500 crore rupees to Durga Puja pandals in West Bengal.
That's right.
Our mission today is to really unpack the layers behind this. I mean, it's a staggering move. We want to look at the cultural significance, the economic side, and of course, the political currents it stirred up.
Try and cut through some of the noise, maybe. Look beyond just the headlines.
Yeah, precisely. To reveal what truly makes this situation so compelling for you listening in.
And the numbers themselves, well, they paint a pretty stark picture right from the start. It was August 2nd, 2025, wasn't it? At the Netaji Indoor Stadium in Kolkata.
That's the one.
The announcement came. A donation of 1,10,000 rupees, that's about, what, 1,300 US dollars, to each of 45,000 Durga Puja pandals.
45,000, that's huge.
It adds up, totals an incredible 495 crore rupees. For a bit of global perspective, that's roughly 60 million US dollars.
Here's where it gets really interesting, I think. You have to compare it. If you look back to, say, 2018.
Just 7 years ago.
Right. The total sum then was just 28 crore rupees, maybe 3.4 million US dollars.
Huh?
And that was spread across only 2,800 pandals.
So a massive jump from 28 crore to nearly 500 crore.
Exactly. That kind of increase, well, it makes you ask, what's fundamentally changed here? We need to understand that.
Well, part of it, I think, is how Durga Puja itself has evolved. It's celebrated every year, September, October time. And yes, it has deep religious roots, especially in Bengal. But it's really blossomed beyond just being a religious observance. It's turned into this massive sort of pulsating cultural carnival.
Right.
It's not just about the rituals anymore. It's become this dynamic mix of art, community engagement, and, frankly, spectacular public display.
It really has. And it's fascinating how that transformation has sort of reimagined Kolkata during the festival. The whole city basically becomes this sprawling, open-air art gallery.
Huh.
These themed pandals, these temporary structures, they're just incredible.
Yeah.
So creative, they're not just pulling in devotees anymore.
No, it's tourists, too, from all over India and even globally.
Yeah, remember Hazra Park's Teen Shakar Golpo?
Yeah.
That one highlighted the struggles of auto rickshaw drivers. So clever.
Or Muhammad Ali Park in 2023 recreating the Taj Mahal. These aren't just religious sites, they're temporary masterpieces, sometimes making social commentary, sometimes just architectural wonders.
Exactly.
And this whole artistic cultural shift is built on a surprisingly long and adaptable history. The festival's origins in Bengal go way back to the 16th century.
Oh, really? That far back?
Yeah, initiated by local zamindars, the landlords, often as a show of wealth or for community bonding. But it's long moved past that elite patronage.
So who runs it now?
That's the key thing today. It's fiercely community-driven, organized meticulously by local clubs, they call them para clubs, which are deeply, deeply rooted in their neighborhoods.
Oh.
These clubs are the real backbone. They mobilize everything, the resources, the people, right from the ground up.
And that deep community involvement, that leads us straight to the economics, doesn't it? The impact is just astonishing, much bigger than many people outside the region might realize.
Absolutely. It's not just about fun and games. Our sources show it's a critical economic lifeline for so many people, like a pop-up economy almost.
So what are the figures like?
Well, they really underline the point. Back in 2013, Durga Puja was estimated to contribute something like 25,000 crore rupees. That's over 3 billion US dollars to the economy.
Wow.
By 2019, a big study pushed that figure even higher. Estimated contribution, 32,377 crore rupees. And then, by 2022, reports were suggesting an astounding 40,000 crore rupees, creating around 3 lakh, that's 300,000 jobs.
300,000 jobs from a festival. Those numbers are just staggering. So if you connect that to the wider economy, this one temporary festival lasting just a few days, it contributes, what, 2.58% to West Bengal's GDP for 2019-20? That's a significant slice of the state's economy from a cultural event. How does that even work? How does a temporary thing have such a big economic ripple?
It really shows the sheer scale of the ecosystem that's kind of grown organically around the festival. We're talking about an incredible range of sectors and just a vast number of people whose livelihoods are tied up in Durga Puja.
Like a seasonal industry almost.
Exactly. It rivals permanent sectors in its ability to generate income and jobs just compressed into a shorter period.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's dive into that a bit. Who are these people, the ones whose year kind of revolves around this one big celebration?
Well, first off, you've got the idol makers. Think about Kumartuli, Kolkata's traditional potter's quarter.
Oh, yes, the artisans.
For them, the run-up to Puja is absolutely their peak season. One artisan we looked at mentioned, "Every year I start in June. It's my busiest season." Their skill is incredible, and they're making hundreds of idols, sometimes working for months.
Their whole year's income might depend on it.
Often, yes, but it's way beyond just the idol makers.
Right, there's the construction side too.
Absolutely. There's this huge army of carpenters, electricians, artists, the ones who meticulously build these intricate temporary pandal structures, turning bamboo, cloth, light into these amazing things.
Architectural marvels, really.
And then beyond the building, think about food and drink. A massive surge in demand. Street food stalls are buzzing, local restaurants are packed, everyone sees a big boost in sales, hires extra help.
And that, in fact, spreads outwards, right?
Oh, significantly. Tourism and hospitality are huge beneficiaries. You get this influx of visitors, domestic and international. Hotels fill up, guest houses, local businesses thrive, taxis, souvenir shops, you name it.
I remember reading a quote from a street vendor.
Yeah, saying something like, "It's my yearly sales peak. Without it, I'd struggle." For many, it really is like their big holiday sales rush, just concentrated.
And don't forget the shopping, the tradition of getting new clothes, accessories.
Exactly. That drives a massive surge in retail sales, benefiting countless businesses, big and small.
So you can really see it. It's not just cultural reverence. It's a proper, dynamic economic engine. The ripple effect touches so many lives. It's genuinely a significant driver for the whole regional economy. Which brings us, maybe inevitably, to the political side. Because that nearly 500 crore rupee donation, well, as you'd expect, it hasn't gone unnoticed or uncommented on.
No, definitely not. And the timing is interesting, shall we say.
Particularly strategic.
Yeah.
Positioned less than, what, a year and a half before the 2026 Assembly polls?
You could certainly see it that way. The fascinating part is how this move seemed designed to win goodwill, crucial support from those influential local clubs we mentioned, the ones organizing the pandals.
The Pirai clubs.
Exactly. They're deeply embedded in their neighborhoods. They often act as key hubs for community politics. They can mobilize voters, shape local opinion.
So it's not just funding the festival itself.
It's more like a political handshake, perhaps, an investment in these local networks that could translate directly into political capital come election time.
Right. Now, the government, for its part, they've defended this pretty strongly.
Oh, very vocally.
Yep.
They frame it not as politics, but as a vital cultural investment and an economic booster.
Their main argument seems to be every rupee returns manifold in tourism and jobs. They keep highlighting the festival's role not just economically, but also in fostering communal harmony.
They see it as essential public investment, a good use of funds.
But that raises a very sharp question, especially from the opposition side. They've called it blatant vote bank politics.
Arguing it's a direct attempt to buy votes. And a key point they keep hammering is the issue of unpaid dearness allowance, or DA arrears.
Right, the DA arrears. Explain that quickly for listeners.
Right, sure. DA is basically a cost of living adjustment for government staff. And these arrears are substantial outstanding payments, about 10,000 crore rupees. Over 1.2 billion US dollars owed to around 1.2 million state employees.
And crucially,
payment of these arrears was actually ordered by the court. They were supposed to be paid by mid-August 2025.
So the opposition's question becomes very direct, doesn't it?
Extremely. Why is the government funding festivals with this huge sum when its own employees are suffering from unpaid court-ordered arrears?
It's a very pointed critique.
Yeah.
Directly challenges the government's spending priorities.
And that criticism bleeds into an even broader, arguably more heated debate about secularism itself.
How so?
Well, critics argue forcefully that using state funds, especially such large amounts, for what is fundamentally a religious festival, it blurs the lines between church and state.
Potentially alienating minorities, making them feel overlooked.
That's the argument, that it could be seen as favoritism in how resources are allocated in a diverse society.
But the counter-argument exists too, right?
Yes. Supporters push back hard. They emphasize that Durga Puja, especially in West Bengal, has genuinely moved beyond its purely religious origins.
They see it primarily as a cultural event now.
Exactly. A grand civic celebration that actually fosters communal harmony, bringing people from all backgrounds together, regardless of faith. They see it as unifying, not divisive.
The politics around this got quite intense, though. The opposition even called for the Pandal committees to reject the money.
They did. And they referenced a pretty high-profile incident, the RG car doctor case, to make their point.
What was that about?
That involved a major protest by doctors over things like working conditions and, significantly, arrears in state-run hospitals. It created a lot of public and political pressure.
So, linking the festival funds to that.
It adds another layer of political tension. It brings in wider governance issues, questions about the government's responsiveness to its employees. It really becomes this classic tug of war: culture versus governance, votes versus welfare.
So as we kind of wrap this up,
Sure.
it's clear this nearly 500 crore donation, it really does blend culture, economics, and some pretty tough politics in West Bengal. Beautifully and controversially, as you said earlier.
Yeah. On one side, you have the undeniable benefits. Livelihood supported, tourism boosted. It's a powerful economic engine for the region, no doubt.
At the same time,
That simultaneously, it sparks these persistent, really critical questions about the government's fiscal priorities and about what secularism truly means in a vibrant, diverse society like India's. These aren't easy questions to answer.
no, not at all. So as West Bengal gets ready for another Durga Puja and communities come together to celebrate, you can be sure this debate over the funding will linger. It'll shape political talk, public opinion,
Definitely.
and this deep dive hopefully makes us all think, what's the right balance? That delicate, maybe even impossible balance a government has to strike between preserving and investing in cherished cultural heritage, something that brings joy and economic benefit, and addressing the immediate, very real welfare needs of its own civil servants, who are also fundamental to the state's functioning.
It's a really complex interplay, isn't it? Tradition, governance, and the very real impact of public money on millions of lives. Something to definitely keep thinking about.